warm welcome to State of Business on our television. I'm Heshain Ali and let's have a look at the headlines first. 3 more patients who underwent treatment for COVID-19 left hospital today, bringing the number of recovered persons to 14. A well-known website, Health Review Global, says Sri Lanka is setting a global example by taking impressive measures to combat COVID-19. News in detail. Health Minister today announced that 2 more patients have tested positive for COVID-19, bringing the total number of confirmed cases in Sri Lanka to 122. Meanwhile, 3 more patients who underwent treatments at the IDH hospital were discharged, bringing the number of recovered persons to 14. Director General of Health Services announced that 2 new cases of coronavirus were identified, bringing the total number of positive COVID-19 cases to 122 as of 4:30 p.m. today. At the same time, the Health Ministry also announced that 3 more patients have recovered and were discharged from the IDH hospital within today. A total of 104 patients are under observation at several hospitals on suspicion of contracting the virus, while 14 patients have been discharged thus far after completely recovering. Another batch of 132 people left for their homes today after completion of the 2-week-long quarantine process. Accordingly, 76 people from the Talava Quarantine Centre and 56 from Punani left for home this morning after completion of medical procedures and receipt of their quarantine certificates.
Since we arrived at the airport 14 days ago, we were treated immensely well by the airport staff, by the 3 forces, by the police, by the medical staff who have looked after us immensely well. They have been courteous, respectful, and helped us through the processes. I must say that we were also disinfected from head to toe. We were asked to wash our hands. We were guided through the procedures. We were fed and watered, and then we were brought to this camp. We were dispatched to various camps, and some of us were brought here to Dia Talava.
We spent 2 weeks here in these facilities, this quarantine camp. We are happy to leave, but it was, I think, a pleasurable stay. We had the opportunity to walk and to be outside a lot. We were taken care of very well, and everybody was friendly and nice to us. And well, I think we were a little bit preferred to other people. We were healthy and kept healthy, and we felt safe.
The Army Commander Lieutenant General Shavendra Silva said that a total of 2,096 people, including 22 foreigners, are still under quarantine at 47 centres. He also added that by today, 1,698 individuals are quarantined and facilitated to go back to their homes by the government. Issuing a statement today, President's Media Division said that all decisions pertaining to curfew or isolation processes can be made only by the highest government authorities and that no decision should be taken at the regional level causing disruption to civilian life. Accordingly, stating that only the highest government authorities are vested in power to execute curfew measures in the country, the government today announced that any suggestion to the changes on the ongoing curfew hours in any area should be forwarded to the Presidential Task Force on Prevention of COVID-19. It is stated that the high-level government authorities will decide on the imposition of curfew areas to implement curfew and on affirmation of isolated areas following a deep analysis of data received. Meanwhile, the curfew imposed in all districts of the country except 6 districts was temporarily lifted at 6 a.m. and was reimposed at 2 p.m. today. Nevertheless, the curfew in Colombo, Gampaha, Kaluthara Puttalam, Kandy and Jaffna districts continue until further notice, since these 6 districts are identified as high-risk areas for COVID-19. Moreover, travelling to and from all districts is completely prohibited except for the purpose of providing essential services. Moreover, Sri Lanka Police added that more than 6,850 individuals are arrested for curfew violations since March 20th. Meanwhile, more than 1,640 vehicles have been taken into custody. Bringing you the latest information on coronavirus around the globe, it is reported that more than 722,000 coronavirus cases are reported worldwide, while its death toll has surpassed 33,000. At this juncture, many countries have tightened the social distancing guidelines and lockdown mechanisms. Being the latest epicenter of novel coronavirus, USA surpassed the total number of coronavirus cases found in China and Italy. The US now has the highest confirmed cases worldwide, accounting to more than 142,000 with over 2,400 deaths. An attending physician in the anesthesiology department of a hospital in New York told foreign media that there are not enough supplies in the current battle against COVID-19. The doctor, who wishes to remain anonymous, told that there is not enough of anything, highlighting that it is difficult to keep up with demand on rising number of patients. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump said federal coronavirus guidelines such as social distancing will be extended across the US until at least 30th April. However, he had previously suggested that they could be relaxed as early as Easter, which falls in mid-April. The US president also noted that the highest point of the death rate is likely to hit in 2 weeks.
The peak, the highest point of death rates, remember this, is likely to hit in 2 weeks. Nothing would be worse than declaring victory before the victory is won. That would be the greatest loss of all. Therefore, the next 2 weeks and during this period, it's very important that everyone strongly follow the guidelines.
On the other hand, Italy, which is also harshly battered by this pandemic, reports more than 97,600 confirmed cases from coronavirus. Spain has more than 80,100 confirmed cases in the country. And on the other hand, Moscow Mayor Sergei Sobyanin noted that Russia's capital Moscow is under lockdown from today. All residents of Moscow are largely forbidden from leaving their homes, and their movement in the city are subjected to special permits. But exceptions are made for buying groceries, medicines, walking pets within 100 meters from home, and disposing of litter. Meanwhile, it is noted that Russian authorities are also considering a countrywide travel ban. Subsequently, today, the South Korean President Moon Jae-in announced that the government would provide funding to households in the bottom 70% of incomes. Around 14 million South Korean households will qualify for financial assistance under the government's newly announced Disaster Support Fund. On the other hand, key Indian personalities announced that they would contribute to the country's coronavirus relief fund. On Saturday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced the creation of PM CARES, a dedicated national fund to deal with emergency and distress situations, including the COVID-19 pandemic. Within days of the declaration, millions of dollars have been donated to PM CARES by Bollywood actors, sports stars, and business tycoons. Bollywood celebrities such as Shilpa Shetty, Akshay Kumar took to their social media accounts to announce on their contributions. Bollywood actor Akshay Kumar said on Twitter that he had made a donation equivalent to $3.3 million. Indian cricketer Suresh Raina donated over $40,000 to the fund and another $28,000 to the Disaster Relief Fund for the northern state of Uttar Pradesh. Stay tuned for more news right after this commercial break. Welcome back after the break. A stock of medical aid worth $10,500 was donated by Sri Lankan expatriates in China to Sri Lanka in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. Thus, the consignment was flown in from Shanghai on last Saturday. National Courier Sri Lankan Airlines added that medical supplies included essential items such as masks, protective clothing, goggles, face protection splash guards, nebulizers, pulse oximeters, thermometers, and glucometers. The items were donated by the Sri Lankan expat community in China through the Consulate Generals of Sri Lanka in Guangzhou and Shanghai with the aid of the Embassy of Sri Lanka in China. Meanwhile, the United States Department of State and the USAID announced they will provide $1.3 million to Sri Lanka as emergency health and humanitarian assistance to help fight the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic. The funds will aid Sri Lanka to prepare laboratory systems, activate case finding and event-based surveillance, support technical experts for response and preparedness, risk communication, infection prevention and control, and more. The State Department and USAID provide an initial investment of nearly $274 million in emergency health and humanitarian assistance to help 64 of the most at-risk countries facing the threat of this global pandemic. Meanwhile, a well-known website which speaks about global health-related issues, Health Review Global, says that despite being a second world economy, Sri Lanka is setting a global example by taking swift and impressive responses to the global epidemic of COVID-19. The Health Review Global, making a thorough analysis of public health measures employed by the health sector of Sri Lanka, says that the properly organized preventive care plan by Sri Lanka can bring about astounding results in a pandemic situation. The article, published a few days ago, said that they had studied the responses of many countries to the coronavirus pandemic, and Sri Lanka's response to the global epidemic was swift and impressive despite the country being a second world economy. It is also added that the point to ponder is how a properly organized preventive care planned by the government's health sector could bring about astounding results in pandemic situations. The report further said Sri Lanka, dubbed as the Pearl of the Indian Ocean, is a very famous tropical destination among thousands. The island nation ranked as the #1 tourist destination by Lonely Planet. The government has temporarily decided to attach unemployed trainee graduates to medical officer health offices. Training period of trainee graduates who have reported to the divisional secretariats has been delayed until May, given the current tense situation in the country erupted due to coronavirus. However, considering the request of the Ministry of Health and Indigenous Medicine, a decision has been taken to temporarily attach these trainee graduates to medical officer of health officers in helping the process of containing the situation. It was also mentioned that due to this existing curfew, it is not compulsory to report for duties at MOH offices today, and that there will be an announcement in this regard in the future. The central bank has unveiled a 50 billion 6-month refinancing facility for banks to help COVID-19 hit businesses, individuals and self-employed. Among these concessions, a debt moratorium and a working capital loan at an annual interest rate of 4% are also included. The refinance facility by the central bank is a decision taken by the cabinet last week to introduce a wide range of fiscal and financial concessions for all COVID-19 hit businesses and individuals. The scheme went into effect on 25th, and accordingly the licensed commercial banks, licensed specialized banks, licensed finance companies and specialized leasing companies are eligible to participate, thereby extending support to their customers. A debt moratorium and a working capital loan at the annual interest rate of 4% for eligible customers are the major concessions in the package. It also includes tourism, direct and indirect export-related businesses, including apparel, IT, tea, spices, plantation and related logistics suppliers that have been adversely affected by work disruption and overseas lockdowns resulting from COVID-19. The central bank specified that import facilities will not be permitted until this refinance facility for imports other than pharmaceutical drugs, medical equipment, food, fertilizer and essential raw materials, and machinery and equipment. The support package includes concessions for existing performing loans and non-performing loans, new working capital or investment purpose loans, and temporary flexibility and relaxation of rules followed by the Credit Information Bureau. And that's all news for today. Let's work together and let's work responsibly in the fight against COVID-19. Maintain the social distance and respect the guidelines given by the health authorities. With that, we'll wrap up today's news and see you tomorrow with State of Business. Until then, take care. Good night.